Men in Black International is directed by F. Gary Gray and stars Liam Neeson, Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, and is executive produced by Steven Spielberg. Was anyone else surprised when they saw Steven Spielberg's name pop up in the credits and credited as executive producer? I did not even know he was attached to this project. So I feel like that was the most biggest surprise of this film and the most biggest shock to see Steven Spielberg credited as executive producer on this. So because before this, I did not even know he was a part of it. I did not know he was even working on this film until the after credits, until I really finished the film and stayed after the credits. And I had to double check. I was just like, wait, did I read that correctly? Was that Steven Spielberg I read? And then I looked on IMDb and I was just like, yep, that was Steven Spielberg. So yeah, that was a big surprise to see that he executive produced this film. And this was a film that I was not excited for. I mean, I saw the trailers, and the trailers did not really impress me. The marketing did not really impress me. The TV spots did not really impress me. So overall, I was not excited for this film because I feel like we don't need another Men in Black film, because I feel like that original franchise, because Men in Black International is a reboot of that original franchise that stars Will Smith, and I feel like that franchise, that original franchise, I feel like there hasn't really been an awful Men in Black installment yet. I feel like even those original 3 movies were really good. That first Men in Black is an instant classic, and then the other 2 sequels are also really good as well. So I feel like there hasn't really been an awful installment in the Men in Black franchise yet. So now in 2019 we have rebooted it with a director attached to it and a whole new cast made up of Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, and Liam Neeson is also there as head of the company here. So I want to get into what I liked in Men in Black International. So like I said, I went into the film really wanting to hate it, and I came out of this movie rather surprised. I was surprised at how much fun I was actually having and how much I actually enjoyed this film. So I want to start off by talking about the performances. Chris Hemsworth, he is very charismatic in this role. I feel like for what Chris Hemsworth was handed in this script, he pulls it off. He is very charismatic in this role, and whenever he is on screen, he makes this film a lot more entertaining than it already is. And he has some great chemistry with Tessa Thompson. These two work great together. They were in one other film before, For Ragnarok, and this is their second time in the same film together. And Tessa Thompson is also really great. She has some great scenes with Chris Hemsworth in this, when these two are working together this time around. So there's obviously going to be some comedic value there and some entertainment value between these two. And yeah, these two work great together. They have great chemistry. I bought their bond, I bought their relationship, and I thought Chris Hemsworth, I thought he really brought it in this role, and he really tried to deliver a great performance too. And his performance, that's probably the most entertaining part. He makes this film a lot more entertaining than it already is. I think if his performance was not good, I feel like this film would have failed. But I feel like ever since he worked so well with Tessa Thompson, and Chris Hemsworth alone delivered a great performance. They really brought up the entertainment value in this film as well. So I got to give praise to Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, because they have some really great scenes together. Have some really great conversations that go on with these two. Liam Neeson is also in this film, and he's head of the game. He is head of the MIB here, and his performance was pretty good in this. I was definitely surprised, because Liam Neeson, he's always been that action hero here, and this is a very different performance for him. But I thought he delivered a really good performance here, and there is a twist with his character which I will get into soon. But I feel like just as a standard, as far as his performance goes in this, his performance is pretty good in this. I feel like each performance, they really give it their all. Chris Hemsworth, he really gives it his all in this role, and Tessa Thompson, the CGI looked pretty impressive. I was surprised at how good this world actually looked, and at how realistic it looked and at how good certain things were. And I think for the most part, the CGI actually did look really good in this movie. The movie was a lot more entertaining than I thought, and I know that is not saying a lot, but for a person that was not excited for this and I was not even going to see this in the first place, I came out rather satisfied. I rather enjoyed it, and I had fun, and it was a lot more entertaining than I did I think, and I feel like that's a valid point I have to bring up here. Is I feel like why the movie is a lot more entertaining is because of is the chemistry between Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth really makes this movie a lot more entertaining. It really makes it stand out a lot more. And Chris Hemsworth's charismatic performance here also gives an extra layer to this film as well. So it might not be saying a lot. Was not going to see this in the first place. It was a lot more entertaining than I thought. There is actually a point in the movie where it could have ended, and this kind of I guess comes into my negatives. Is there was a point in this movie where it could have ended, and it would have been a satisfying. It would have been at least a good enough, satisfying ending. But they keep on dragging it on for about another half an hour, and then there's this twist that happens in the last 30 minutes, which I did not. I felt like it was a very like last second, last note type ending, and it really did not really give really much to the movie. I feel like there is a point in the movie where our villains in this movie are very brief. You don't see them really a whole lot. I would say that their powers are cool. Their abilities I thought were really good, but they are very one note and have no personality. These villains are really just kind of there. But then there's the twist ending that happens that kind of throws those villains away, and they're not even our real villains, and that's not really a spoiler there. It's just that it really kind of throws away the whole purpose of the film in the last like 30 minutes. The twist ending really kind of destroys our villains. I will say our first appearance, when we first see our villains, that was probably one of the best scenes for them. For when they were on screen, it's probably one of like their best scenes, because like I said, they're in this movie very brief, and their appearance is probably a highlight for them. So that might not be saying I won't get into the twist ending, but I will say it really just kind of it portrays who like our villains for like the last hour and a half of this movie was for our villains that we've been following, who we think have been the main threat. They can't just throw that like out the window, and they're not even really our main villains here. Like I said, I won't talk spoilers just in case you want to see the movie, but the twist ending, it really kind of throws out like that last hour and a half at what our villain's purpose is. And our villains, they really have no purpose, just to be there, just to really get this device. And that's really all they're there, is that they're just bad guys for the sake of being bad guys. And the twist ending. Next big problem with this movie is there is a lot of humor in this movie, and none of it lands. I did not laugh once in this movie. That's how bland and dull this humor is. It's not funny, to say the least. This is very dull humor, and it did not work, and my fear was dead silent the entire time. There were a few chuckles from the audience every now and then, but for the most part, like, there are a lot of jokes. There was a lot of humor in this movie, and for the most part, my auditorium was dead silent the entire time. There were not many laughs in the theater, and that's saying a lot about this humor in this. But yeah, just to be real here, it did not land. It did not work that well. My overall thoughts on Men in Black International is this as good as that original franchise? No, not by a long shot. Will Smith, he is so charismatic in those original movies, and they are instant classics to everybody. And this one, it's like, I can't see this being a film that will hold up after 2 to 3 years. I can't see this being a film. I can't see this being a film nobody will remember, because it has really nothing that memorable to it. I mean, yes, Chris Hemsworth is good. Yes, Liam Neeson is good. The performances overall are good. But there's really nothing to it like those original 3 movies. This is not as good as that original franchise. Did anybody expect this to master that original franchise? I don't think anybody did, because it's so hard to now really what Will Smith and the rest of the cast and the director did with those first 2 and 3rd movie. And this one, I can't see it really holding up that well. I guess to really wrap up my thoughts on Men in Black International is I had fun. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. I enjoyed it while I was in the theatre, but I can't see this being a film I remember like after about 2 to 3 days. Like, I mean, I had fun. There's a lot to enjoy while you're in the theatre, and one thing to take away from this film, it is Chris Hemsworth's performance. He really holds this movie together in one piece and delivers a great performance, a great charismatic. He has great chemistry with Tessa Thompson in this, and I feel like they're the 2 elements that really holds this movie together, that keeps this movie stable from falling apart into a disaster. And this movie was not really a disaster. Like I had fun. I had fun with it. But like if you want to watch it, like go out to your local theatre now. It's probably like worth a watch if you want to watch it. Probably recommend that you wait till it comes to a streaming service so you can rent it there or watch it on Netflix. But just if you want to watch it, go ahead. But probably just wait till it comes to a streaming service. I'm not saying I hate this film. I actually had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought, for a person that was not even interested in going to see this, and I was not going to see this in the first place. I had no interest in seeing this, but I was kind of dragged along tonight, so I thought, yeah, why not? It's a Friday night thing. Anyways, so yeah, that's my review for Men in Black International. Let me know all your thoughts and comments down in the comment section down below. What did you all think of Men in Black International? Did you like it? Did you think it was meh? Or did you really hate it? Leave all your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. So anyways, guys, I hope you have a good rest of your Friday night, and I'll see you in the next video.